What's up, folks? It's your old pal Mike Harrington here, and I am joined, as always, because this is now a semi-regular thing, by my stalwart producer, Jorge Pedro. Jorge, how are you, sir?
I'm doing all right. I'm very stalwart as ever.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, Chris is dealing with family emergency, so he is a little bit busy this week, but he was hard at work getting a couple interviews in the can. As we teased last week, we have Corinne Fisher is going to be the first one up, and then we had another armored combat conversation. We talked to Spencer Waddell, who is one of the favorites to win at Gladiator Z3 on May 23rd at American Dream Mall. Do not want to miss that one. It's going to be, incredible. I think we have, I think it's 8 guys, 8 of the top Titan weights in the world. Spencer Waddell is like fighting up in weight. He's usually like a 250 guy. He's going up to 285 for this one, matching up with the likes of Pete Mo, Nick Dahl, who's listen to this, Jorge, 7-footer, over 500 pounds in armor. There is no upper weight limit for these Titan weight series fights. If you just Google Nick Dahl, Nickdahl, he is a terrifying man to see in the list. He typically fights in Booher, where it's like teams, and it takes 2-3 guys working together to get this guy in his ass. And some random person, one of the 8 guys, is going to be taking him on in the first round. Don't know how much pop he's going to have in the second and third fights if he makes it that far. But man, for 2 minutes, I would not want to deal with 7 feet and 500 pounds of armor coming at me.
This guy right here?
No, he's bigger than that guy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, no, that's his team. That's one of the dudes on his team. I believe he's the dude to the right of that guy. You see, like that giant next to him?
All
That's
right.
Nick Dahl. This is gonna be an incredible thing. We are promoting it. This weekend, Chris and myself are going to be at Gladiators in Central Park, right near the Metropolitan Museum of Art, or whatever that is. We are going to be right over there, 2 p.m. on the grounds in Central Park. Chris and I've been told by the head of Gladiators that they are going to put Fega and I in armor, and they are going to let us duke it out, get some interest, get some people to come out and buy some tickets for the May 23rd event. We're also going to be in Perryville for the IMCF qualifiers on May 17th, Fifth Company Brewing. And then 2 days before that, I have Anxiety Attack at New York Comedy Club. That is May the 15th. Justin Silver going to be on that show. Zach Amico, friend of this show, going to be on there. Isabel Hagen, Karen Feehan, just some of your absolute favorites. Ryan Long. It's going to be a really good show. So come on out to that. Natalie's birthday. I just found out Natalie and GBM are going to be in attendance. So if you want to meet those two, come on by, take a picture. I will whore out my friends to get a couple of ticket sales. Tell me I won't, Jorge. Tell me I won't.
You won't.
All right. So I do have a couple of things outside of, because this is old business. I've been handling all the old business, which is essentially telling you about the new shows that we have coming up. But for old business, we have been, for years, the way that we got into armored combat is we were always looking for the cutting edge, the next big thing in sports. And I have 2 possible entries that I sent to you, Jorge. You tell me which one of these. I guess because it has to be binary, right? So we'll have one, and then have a competitor for it, and whichever one moves on. And then I guess the next time up we'll judge the best new sport against that. But the 2 I have today, there is a whip fighting championship. That's right. It is 2 men standing in what seems like an octagon, both of them armed with whips. And Jorge, if you could just give us a little taste of what the people are getting into when they get a ticket to see professional whip fighting. How do you referee this safely, dude? Oh, they're bare-chested, bare back. You can step on the other guy's whip. That guy whiffed like crazy. Dude, the ref is getting it worse than anyone. This sucks. Dude.
And it's like half the time they're just throwing it. They're not even like really putting any action into it.
No.
Like, it's not even a fair whipping.
No, you're not. You're not giving it your all. You're trying to catch the other guys. And like I said, when they're actually doing the motion, when they're pulling it back to themselves, and that is when the ref is getting hit. Up. He got hit in the goggles. Goggles are off. We got a wardrobe malfunction. Oh, dude, that sucks. That would be the worst one to sign up for, I think.
I feel like there's so much more opportunity for pain.
Yeah, right?
Especially because, like, literally the tip of a whip is one of the worst things that you can, like, it's such a sting.
Imagine getting that as a nut shot.
That's what I was thinking, a helmet shot.
Oh.
Like, do you wear a cup for this?
I mean, dude, if not, you're puking.
Oh, yeah.
There's just no way.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think you can. I've never worn a cup for any boxing match that I've had. I could not go into that sport without a cup. The other one I was looking at that also probably should involve a cup, as well as some pads that are not given to these people. It is the Australian sport of run it. Jorge, this is essentially an Oklahoma drill. Where instead of a football, one person has a rugby ball. But unlike an Oklahoma drill, where people are fully padded doing this, these guys are in rugby gear, which is just a shirt and some really tight shorts. Can you show the people what's good with Run It? Boom! Look at that car crash on every single play. It's keep playing it because they show they show more of the footage. It's not just this asshole talking about it. So it's best out of 5. You got to take 5 runs at each other. You lower your shoulder. Whichever one gets knocked down, gets knocked off course, is the loser there. If you can stop the ball carrier, then you win. This is nuts, dude. This feels like it's just head trauma.
Like, not only just the head trauma, but your shoulders are going to be fucked up. Like, the way that they're angling each other, because you're trying to go for the ball.
Right.
But, like, some of these hits are just, ooh, yeah.
Yo, I'm seeing, like, the old adage of, like, low man wins does not seem to be true. Like, I've seen guys get low here and then get, see? Lower man there got laid out. Lower man laid out, dude. These guys are hitting, like, perfect spear form tackles and are getting laid the fuck out.
This is some good old-fashioned 70s football.
Right? All right, which one do you think has the chance to blow up and become the next big thing?
Personally, I think that there's more potential in whip fighting because whip fighting has less of a barrier of like you can use a real you can use a real whip, or you can use, like, I feel like you can make shift, like, out of a jump rope or whatever, like you're on a playground, and I feel that there's less.
The barrier for entry in Run It is having any kind of ball.
Yeah, but you have to be willing to take the physical pain.
Same thing with whip fighting?
No, whip fighting. With Run It, you're throwing your whole body into it. And you're going to have, like I was saying, your shoulder, if you get hit in the head, like, there's so much trauma that you can get from that. As opposed to the Whip It, where if you do manage to avoid getting hit or something, like, you're pretty fine. Or you're going to get, like, some welts, but it's not going to be significant damage.
I just do the idea of a stinging whip running across my back while a crowd of people are cheering or booing. No, dude, that feels like I'm in Gladiator times. I don't like that one bit. I would much rather hurl my body at someone. But I'm not talking about, even competing. I'm saying from a fan perspective, which one has a better chance of becoming the new UFC?
Oh, I still think it's the whips.
Really?
Purely because, like I said, it's still like a playground thing where you could throw anybody into. There's more. It's like trying to get people to fight at Skankfest, where I feel like it's easier to convince people to just like, oh, you're just hitting each other with some whips. You're not actively trying to destroy your body. You're trying to have fun with it. So I think it's more accessible for people.
I like the idea. I think it's so much more accessible for the common fan. I feel like you get such a bigger pop from the crowd when one dude lays out another dude. I don't think you're ever going to get the levels of like, ooh, from a crowd as you are. Like, you know, every single collision in Run It sounds like a UFC head kick. You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing in the professional whipping sport where you go like, oh, fuck, dude, he got laid out. It's just all death by 1,000 cuts, and that stinks, dude. No one likes that.
I mean, it's pure athleticism, though, where it's like you're trying to avoid getting hit in like certain places. If you do, like, I think accuracy can be a
Run It is pure athleticism. It's about how fast you can run into another person.
Nah, that's the genetics thing, though, where it's like you have to be physically able to take the beating, as opposed to whips, where you can get a little fucked up and just do it.
I would do Run It at Skankfest.
I mean, I think both of these are great ideas for Skankfest.
No, we can't have whips at Skankfest.
That's the one. That's the one.
That's where we have to draw the line, dude. All right, because here's the problem. Eventually, a whip is going to end up in Lewis's hands. We've seen Lewis with a sword. We've seen Lewis with fire. Like, he can't be trusted with these kind of things. Dude, a whip, he'd be trying to do whip tricks like kendamas and taking out the RLC's eyes left and right, dude. No.
BYOG, bring your own goggles.
You cannot have a whip, dude. I have to. My wife is going to be there. Lewis cannot have a whip. No, but I think Run It at Skankfest, dude, take some of them big old boys and just have them run at each other full speed, see which one can knock the ball out of the other one's hands.
I say we add another layer to it. Get some people full of some gumbo, some jambalaya, really fill them up, and then have them work that out on the Run It course.
And just run into each other until one of them pukes?
Yep.
Oh, dude, Run It till you puke is very fun. That's all right. Now I like what we're doing here. This is how you up it to the next level. Because 3 out of 5, sure, it's like, who cares? You know, low man wins, high man. This is collisions. It's car crashes. But which one of them can eat their own body weight in jambalaya and not puke while doing this ridiculous sport? Dude, this is next level. This is why we got to workshop these things out. So we're saying neither of these is the next big sport. The next big sport is Run It with competitive eating.
I mean,
okay,
let's go to Coney Island. We have 2 months to prepare. We have 2 months to pitch this. Eat all the hot dogs and then run it after.
Then run it, dude.
Run it on the beach in the sand.
Yo. That sounds like a real nightmare. Yeah, but I think that's it. It's like, okay, if you're doing like 5 chocolate pies, right? If you finish your 5th pie, the guy's still working on his 4th, you can just blast into him. Just run into him as fast as you can. Try to knock him down while he's still eating a pie.
That's going to suck.
That's going to suck so much.
What if both people throw up?
Dude, yeah, both guys just puking their brains out.
Everybody's going to throw up.
Who thought this was a good idea?
Fucking Aussies, man.
It's just vomit the sport. All right. Speaking of vomit the sport, I have one more video that I sent you that none of my shows have covered this week. None of my shows I think are going to get to it, and I think it's a real shame because this is just a masterpiece, right? We talked about all last week, right? The discourse. Anyone you spoke to, 100 guys versus a gorilla, 100, this, that, the other. Alex thinks 12 of her can take a Lewis. Sure, whatever. How about one dude at a Denny's versus 473 drunken women? It's such a good fight. It's such a good fight. This reminds me of like classic Notes of a Goon when we used to do Denny's fights, when we would often talk about the martial arts styling of a Waffle House employee and why you just can't beat them. I think the transitive property works. When it's like a bachelorette party, it's a woman's 30th birthday, right? Anything that ends up at any kind of Denny's, any kind of IHOP, the dudes who are working there late night versus infinite women. just infinite women keep throwing them at him. Like, eventually their bodies are just going to topple over onto the fresh new women that are coming, and he's going to be having an impenetrable fortress of knocked out bitches. Roll the tape. Woo! Whoa, dude.
Hold on, let me get the audio.
Look at that. Oh my God, dude. You can see they're openly punching back of the head. That's a strike that's illegal in the UFC because it can paralyze you. Like, enough that we've seen guys get punched in the back of the head and never be able to walk again, right? He is eating those like delicious Shoney's biscuits. Absolutely no problem taking one after another from as many women want to throw them at him. Incredible stuff. Like, you know, like you see these martial arts demonstrations where it's like the old guy and he uses like 2 fingers to like flip a dude on his head or whatever. Like, that's the level of ease this dude is running through this pack of hammered broads. That's how they felt. Look at this. Right. Now they're sending in their heavy artillery. That's the biggest bitch they got. Whoa, 2 for 1. Another one down. Still punching from the rafters. That's not great. Security coming in. Oh, extra security. Now it's 2 on 1,000.
There was a titty.
There was a titty? Go back. Let's see the titty. Whose titty? Oh!
Hell yeah.
Dude, this is elite fighting. Like, you know.
I think that should be part of the sport is fight until tits come out.
Fight until tits come out.
That should be a new thing where, like, slap boxing, cool, whatever, asses out. Trying to see some titties. Come on now. Like, wear the most loose-fitting, low-cut, whatever. If you get hit and something swings out, you get a little slip. I think you get extra points for this. And, like, this is a new thing. This is a whole new era of competitive women's fighting.
What if we do almost called strip boxing, right?
Okay.
So, you know, first round, both ladies come in. They got a sports bra over whatever they're wearing, right? Fucking whoever wins round number 1, the loser has to take off the sports bra. Underneath, they got, like, you know, a T-shirt or something. So you can see them bouncing around with no bra, right? And then the third, you know, if you lose another round, you take that off. Now you got, like, a low-cut tank top. And it's like any punch you throw, a titty's probably going to pop out. And you make it, yeah, if a titty pops out, you lose.
Yeah. I feel like
a titty could pop out of the T-shirt. Like, you need to make it so it's possible for the titty to pop out in round 2. So maybe not a T-shirt, but something.
Let's see.
Maybe like a halter top?
Yeah, nice little halter. Like a little something that crops just enough.
Right.
To where, like, there's a slight chance with the movement you're going to see something. But the thing is, you want to get that enough movement for it to pop out.
Yeah, it's got to be out. It can't just reveal itself. It needs to be out.
Yeah.
That's not going to be, that's unfair to A-cups.
I think that just makes it more of a competitive thing where it's like if you're larger chested women, it's going to be easier for something to pop out. But the smaller it is, that means they just have to go at it longer until, you know, something happens.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, if anything's showing for an A-cup, it's just out. You know what I mean? Like, you can get up to so much areola on a fucking on a D and still technically not have titty out.
True.
You know?
True.
So, all right, we got some kinks to iron out, but I think strip boxing, I don't see why it couldn't, you know, make an appearance at Skankfest, but definitely run it till you puke. Absolutely needs to, unless we find an even cooler sport between now and Skankfest. But I'm saying whips are done, dude.
Nah, whip it forever.
Okay. Well, we'll see next time it's coming to town. Coming up next, we have Chris's interview with NYC mayoral candidate Corinne Fisher, followed by an interview with the Armored Leagues, Spencer Waddell, one of the favorites for the upcoming Gladiator Z3 at American Dream Mall, May 23rd in East Rutherford, New Jersey. Thanks for hanging out. Good night.
All right, guys, we are back. Got a great guest here. Corinne Fisher has joined the podcast. What's mayoral candidate, Corinne Fisher?
Thank you.
Are you still technically considered a mayoral candidate as we're having this conversation?
I am, because I'm off the ballot currently, but the ballot access has not closed, and I have an open court case. So yes, I would still. I did mayoral forums last week. I'm still in endorsement processes for several endorsements with local groups. So yes.
So just for people who are listening, what exactly happened? Essentially, your cover letter was misworded.
It's not even a cover letter. It's a cover sheet. Like, we're talking like 4th grade book report, right? Okay. So in short, what happens is when you submit your petitions to the Board of Elections, they do advise you to get an election lawyer. I had retained a lawyer, at the beginning of the petitioning process. But I had to retain a New Jersey election lawyer because none of the New York City election lawyers will work with smaller candidates. So even when you're retaining lawyers, it is political, so there's
they don't want to worry. They're worried about New York election lawyers are essentially worried about if you make waves and piss somebody off, now they're fucked.
Yeah, I think retaliation, and they are also playing a political game where they want to, preserve certain relationships. So yeah, I had contacts for some of the top election lawyers in New York City, but none of them would work with me. I still got a really good lawyer, an election lawyer based in New Jersey. They also have New York City offices though, so it's not like they're not working at all in New York City law. And what happens is the Board of Elections, specifically in New York City, will not answer any questions. This is unlike any other Board of Elections in the country. Most other Board of Elections, if you have a question, especially like regarding a clerical issue, they will answer the question. New York City Board of Elections not only will not answer questions, they pride themselves on not answering questions.
Really?
They're smug about it. They love it. They want you to fail, which is a very odd system.
Well, I think it's the entire New York government. Like, it's just in general, it is set up in this weird way where it's like, I've told the story on the show before. I don't know if I ever said this to you. When I was like building my commercial kitchen years ago, I wanted to get this thing called a freestanding deep fryer.
Okay.
Which has its own hood system, so you don't have to put in a hood system, which costs hundreds of thousands of dollars. I called the fire department. They're like, you can't have that. That gets you around the law. And I go, the law is to prevent fires. This prevents fires.
Right.
And they were like, no. And it turns out there's 2 contractors that are allowed to put in hood systems, and they both give a lot of money to the FDNY's, the equivalent of the PAL.
Oh, of course.
So, and then I just called a buddy of mine's dad, and he said, just tell me when it's on their desk, and I'll just go in there and tell them to stamp it.
Yeah, it's very much about who you know. Absolutely. Yeah, and so you have to retain a lawyer and put together this cover sheet on your petitions, but they don't tell you the format that they want it in. They give you a template, but they don't tell you specifically what some of the questions on the cover sheet mean.
Really? Yeah. And they're vague, I'm sure.
Yeah, and so you are then left to have your lawyers, who you are paying, a lot to, to interpret the law, which is pretty vague, to then answer the questions on the cover sheet and submit and hope that your lawyers interpreted the law in the way that the Board of Elections wants. Obviously, any of these inside baseball lawyers in New York City, my team goes, it's probably like 7 lawyers that know exactly what they want and can submit the same thing every year.
Or just submit it as them, and then they don't even probably have to fill it out.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it's like if you're Cuomo's election lawyer, you're the most expensive one in the world, and you're the one submitting it, and they just go, we're not even going to look at this. It's fine.
Yeah.
Like, we're not going to deal with whatever the machine that's going to come after us is after this. But you, who just like, you're out there, and maybe you're drawing some votes from some people that are more important or whatever, and it's kind of just a way to phase people out of the system, right?
For sure. And then, but then the additional problem is, so even if you submit this incorrectly, the number that we submitted, and basically like it was about number of volumes. So my lawyer had interpreted it as it should be the amount of sheets in an individual volume. It was supposed to say 1, whatever, very, very minor thing, and I'm handing in thousands over the minimum required of signatures. So the substance, as my lawyers argued. The substance and the merit was there. This is a clerical issue we're talking about. So, I mean, I think the people of New York City mostly would agree that no one should be getting kicked off the ballot, period, hard stop for a clerical error. But I don't want to be like, oh, we're allowed to be lazy. So like if it was my fault, it's my fault. But we're supposed to be additionally allowed to, it's called cure the petitions, petition sheets, and you are supposed to get a notice. And once you get the notice, you have 3 business days to cure it. We were sent apparently 2 notices. We only received 1. The one that we received was regarding page numbering. There was like a smaller page that was shorter, like some were legal size, and one of my staff members missed a page. That was our fault.
Sure.
But we went in, we got the notification, we went in a timely manner, fixed it, resubmitted it. That was fine. But I think it is very interesting that the notice that we never received was the one that would take me off the ballot, because the notice that we received that we went and cured, we could have lost all those signatures and it wouldn't have affected my ballot placement. It was like 200 to 400 signatures. I didn't need them. I had a huge pillow of signatures. But yeah, isn't it so crazy that the one that would be a fatal defect and knock me off the ballot we never received? And also why were they sent separately? It should have been on one notice.
It all happened at the same time.
Yeah, why would it be separate? It makes no sense. The cover sheet is the top sheet.
Yeah. So this is a weird question. Are they sending you emails, or this is a physical notification?
This is a physical notification, which is yet another hurdle that we're getting over when we're dealing with municipal government. It is so archaic because, yes, absolutely, there should be some kind of an email system.
Do you have to sign for it?
No, and there was no, and we asked for a tracking number. No tracking number exists. We're in New York.
But the other one had a tracking number. It was sent priority or something.
No,
or
it was sent like the USPS envelope, but there was no. We never received any tracking number, but it was in my campaign manager's mailroom. Especially in New York City when we're dealing with people who many of us don't have doormen. Yeah. So what are you doing? You're just hoping that the person gets it. So yeah. There's no. There should be a digital system. There's a ledger you can look at, and that's how we ultimately found out there is a digital ledger. But we found out when had knocked me off the ballot. That's how we found out, because all the reporters and stuff are tracking this digital ledger.
Oh, and so you're saying a reporter reached out to you?
I mean, that was part of it ultimately, yeah, because we're all watching the ledger at the same time, but the reporters are like hawks, so they're on top of it in real time, sitting at it, they're trying to get Britney Spears, tickets in the heyday.
I got you.
Yeah.
So I mean, look, we got this just happened, so I wanted to talk to you about that immediately.
Sure.
But I kind of do want to talk to you about the process and why you're doing this.
Right.
And just the idea is to just see if somebody can just do this.
Right.
And apparently you're hitting a lot of problems, and you have more resources than the average person in general.
Exactly, and that's kind of my point. So I am running, a campaign that is based on can a regular person run for office, but that is this extra layer to it. I'm not even a regular person because I do have I have a reach of a social network, so people who can support me financially and with visibility, and I have I have a little bit extra money to play with to do something like this. So instead of going on vacation this year, I'm running for mayor because I'm tired of us being in an abusive relationship with our government.
Sure. And how do you feel about how do you feel about some of these guys who are running that are so you're dealing with this issue, but there's people who kind of the guy who's running Zoran. People seem to love him.
Yes.
But he seems to have some level of massive political machine behind him.
Yeah, the Democratic Socialists of America. The DSA, it's the same exact template they used for AOC. So they did it for Congress, and now they're trying to do it for a mayoral candidate. And that's the part. See, I like him. I've met him. I think he is a nice person. I mean, I don't. This is a couple interactions. I did not get a negative energy from him. That being said, I just want people to know the truth. So he's running on the basis that he's a grassroots candidate. What a grassroots candidate means at its core is that you're getting a lot of individual donations from people. Sure. So by that definition, he is. But I would argue, and this is an argument I've made publicly because people really like to compare Zoran and I because we're both we're both far, further left and grassroots candidates. I'm when you have the DSA backing you, you have that's just a third political machine,
Yeah. It's not a small machine.
No.
I mean, they're holding massive rallies around the country for Bernie and AOC right now. And I'll tell you
absolutely
this about the AOC situation is I know guys who met her when she was first running, and people were just like, I met her when she decided she was going to run, and this is a person who has been planning on running for office for 20 years.
Oh, that's interesting because, I mean, the way she did it was, I forgot what the organization she used, but I don't know if you're familiar with Run for Something. Okay. She used an organization like that basically supports candidates who are usually, you have to be some kind of like a minority group. So woman, person of color, she hits both of those. And they support you. They give you, canvassers. They give you money. They give you visibility. Okay. And these are, conceptually really good ideas, but then those organizations also become corrupt.
Of course.
Because they're becoming selective in who they want. Like, and they also, if you go to their websites, they're kind of like, you must win. If you don't win, you're like working against us. And it's like, I don't think that's the right message to be sending. I think a lot of us should be trying to run for office. Sure. And if we lose, we lose. Like, failure is part of ultimate success. And anyone who thinks differently is thinking small and short term.
If Barack Obama wins his first congressional run, he may not become, because he probably doesn't get to give that speech at the DNC, and he probably doesn't become president. So it's like, so you do have to lose elections, right? Like it's the famous thing. Nixon loses the election for governor and then becomes president. You know what I mean? Like
Joe Biden, you tried 3 times to become president over the very long course of a political career.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's that was kind of a point I made. I'm like, you know what, man, this guy really wanted to be president. Like
he got it.
He got it. Yeah.
What's funny is like when he finally didn't want to be president, they were like, Joe, I think you got it this time, and he's like, I'm so tired.
Yeah.
I felt bad for Joe Biden the entire time he was president.
Yeah, like at that certain point, he was like, this is just purely on principle now.
Yeah. I don't know what they were pumping him full of to keep him going every day, but that man needed to be on the beach. But
I hope he is now.
Yeah, I hope so. Let's talk about some of the platform. I like one of the policies you were pitching was a tax write-off for nonprofits. If you work for a nonprofit, you could write off your hours.
If you donate your time. So it's the same concept as just when rich people make a financial donation, it's tax deductible. Sure. That's another way that we separate the rich from the poor, or the rich even from the middle class. And so, why not give people a tax write-off for donating their time?
Here's an interesting thing about the tax write-off for charitable donations. It cuts off on January 1st, whereas you have another 2 months to make IRA donations. Like contributions, which is kind of this thing where it's like, if you go, oh, it's January, I didn't make a charitable donation, and you're $1,000 shy, you'd go, I'll just give this to a charity. Like, I would sooner give my money to like the Innocence Project than ever give it to the government.
Yeah, absolutely. Innocence Project, also great choice.
Yeah.
One of my favorites.
That's something I would always do. I mean, the amount of people that they've like proven got railroaded, and just like I'm firmly about like. There's a thing where it's like, even if I'm like I'm probably more right of center than you on most issues, but the idea that the prison system works is not in my fucking purview in any way, shape, or form.
Right.
So, but it's like, so I think that's a great, like, have you been getting pushback on that? Is that even like something that's on the radar for people? Because I think it's a great idea, and it should be enacted at a federal level, in all honesty.
No, I haven't gotten pushback. I mean, that's my signature program, so I'm definitely like very into that, and most people love it, and it's a seemingly unique idea. I think I got one negative piece of feedback from someone who works in nonprofit, and this is like via a comment on Instagram, and she was just kind of concerned that it would take away funding from nonprofits, and I was like, I don't think you understand the program. So that's the only negative thing I've heard about it. But that's the thing I've learned, being in this process, you're gonna get negative feedback truly no matter what you do.
And a lot of times people just aren't understanding the words you're saying. Because if you're saying something like that, if somebody's that works in first of all, the amount of people I've met that work in nonprofits who like pat themselves on the back for working nonprofits, and I'm just like, hey, your salary's Googleable, bud.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, I could see how much you're fucking making.
Right. People are ready to be angry, and I understand why, so I try to be empathetic about that. But, like, it's been very interesting. The moment I, transitioned, and I'm not a comedian. I'm just on hiatus because I wanted people to take this campaign seriously and understand that this is not some kind of a weird publicity stunt. Sure. Do not recommend most time-consuming, costly publicity stunt of all time.
But you're you're gonna have a half an hour out of this.
We hope. Honestly, my creative brain has shut off because I am being like, I feel like I was trying to explain what it's like to run for office. And I have two comparisons. I mean, one is like getting asked out by the love of your life and dumped by that same love of your life every single day. And then the second is like, in like the arcade version of Mortal Kombat where you can kind of just like lock someone in an uppercut and keep punching them. That's what it feels like running for office. Okay. You're just like, I cannot catch a fucking break here.
Well, especially, I mean, look, the idea that we have the front runner being a guy who, and I was just talking to Lindsey Boylan about this, it just like clearly is a piece of human shit.
For sure.
Like,
Absolutely.
Andrew Cuomo is a piece of, who, by the way, and I said this to her and I'll say it to you too, what he did moving the goalposts during COVID to keep New York City closed to make his numbers look good should disqualify him from being mayor before the scandals about any sort of sexual harassment came out.
I mean, there's so many things that he has, in his long laundry list of things that should disqualify him from running. He's like a caricature of a villain.
Yeah, he is he's a caricature of fucking John Gotti. That's what he is. He's a fucking pale comparison jerk. Like, whatever. He makes Italians look bad. I don't like him.
I hear you.
There was actually something I want to talk to you about. It's something I think about in New York, and I've always thought about. The tax... it's a tax write-off for vacancies that landlords
Vacancy
have.
tax, yeah.
Yeah, so I think it's the worst tax loophole in the country because essentially, correct me if I'm wrong, but if you have a building that's half full, you can essentially show zero income.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you can. It's interesting. I tried to talk about this with Noam on the Cellar podcast, and he was just like, "I've never heard of it." And I was like, "Well, I assure you, it exists."
Oh, it certainly exists, and it's what is driving up our rent.
Yeah, I was like, "I assure you, it exists." Yeah, I mean, so I'm also I'm not the first candidate to propose this, but I want a vacancy tax so that people have to be filling these empty spaces rather than monetizing them, whether this be related to small businesses or housing.
Well, you could just get rid of the write-off. You don't necessarily need a tax, right?
Well, I want to create the vacancy tax so that people, because we have enough homes and we just don't want these storefronts open. We want a New York City that is vibrant.
Oh, you're talking about for commercial spaces.
For both ultimately. And it's something that they continually try to push through, but right now it's been in like committee for like 2 years. It just kind of freezes and never gets through in Albany. That's the problem. Because I checked on all these things you can check online and see like if I have this idea, you're like, number one, is this idea, currently in play? A lot of times these good ideas are in play, but they just never make it past Albany as the problem.
Well, I remember de Blasio got shut down in the city council. It was the one thing I liked that he proposed. He basically said that if you're vacant for 6 months, you have to lower the rent.
Right.
And it was like, you can still keep claiming that lower rent, but
right.
every 6 months you have to lower the rent some percentage. And like, it just didn't get through council. Like it got nowhere. And it's just, that's a good, I mean, maybe you make it a year. I don't know the answer, but like something has to give, but it probably has to be, would you agree that it probably has to be coupled with some sort of deregulation for building? Because like, I think the cost of building units is so astronomical in New York. It's crazy.
It's the cost and also the incessant permitting, which is kind of, the point that they.
That's what I mean. Like,
yeah, which is what they bring up in the new Ezra Klein book. I don't know if you read it. I mean,
I did read it.
Yeah, and so I have that, and then they did a really good interview on the Free Press podcast with Barry Weiss, where they explain it more in depth, the authors. But yeah, that's kind of what it's saying, and that's why the stats show that right wing cities have the ability to build affordable housing at a higher rate when you actually look at the stats.
Well, construction expediter is not a job in Houston. That is a job. That is a full-time job in New York. You can just sit around the DOB, no fucking Doris behind the fucking window, and be like, "Hey, stamp this." And it just like you gotta pay a guy to sit around DOB for fucking 6 months. You pay them a lot of money to get your paperwork done faster, and it still costs you all the processing fees. And it's a disturbing amount of money.
Yeah, I mean, money is rampant. And also, I don't know if you saw this, but like right before I was walking in, New York Times just posted that the New York City board backed the raising stabilized units by 1.75% to 4.75%. And I basically think this is they're doing this ahead of time because so many of the Democratic candidates running for mayor
Wanna
are for freezing the rent. Yeah.
So, but why even bother doing it? It's just like, isn't it unpopular? They all have to get reelected. But I guess those elections just have low turnouts.
Yeah, no one's paying attention, which is the problem. So they just punch us in the face so many times that we start to think that nothing matters. And I mean, like, people, you could say like, hopefully I won't have that perspective after this campaign, but that's kind of the point. So the one thing that I still have faith in this many months into the process is that voting really does work. That's the bare minimum that we have to do, though. So when we show up and vote, especially in municipal elections, it causes a real problem for people. Because right now, like I talked to you about, before we went on air, it's about 5% of people showing up for this municipal primary.
Well, that's what also, like Lindsay said last week on the show. She goes, she said that the reason that we know it's a mono party in New York. The Democrats probably going to win in a post Bloomberg New York.
Right.
The Democrat is very likely going to win.
Right.
And it's the primaries in June. People are away.
Right.
It's the summer. You're not thinking about it. And there's a reason why the primary is in June. Why? There's nobody. They're not running against anybody. They're going to win. I mean, I don't know how much Eric Adams beat Curtis Sliwa by, but the fact that Curtis Sliwa can be the Republican nominee twice, probably a third time, shows that there really isn't a competition.
Yeah. Well,
the fact that a crazy cat man that wears a beret is the second largest party's candidate 3 times in a row is... Now, I love a cat.
He's not a terrible person. I know him a little bit. From his Curtis and Kubi days. Yeah.
He means well.
Yeah.
But he's crazy.
People would say, but the thing is, like, how many people are talking about me crazy? How many of our male podcasting colleagues have spent hours of their shows making fun of me? I'm not going to shout out the names of the podcast, but like to be expected.
Are you bringing Alfred into the voting booth?
What?
Yeah. Well, no, Curtis Lewa got turned away from voting for himself because he brought a cat to the polling place last time. Are you not? Like, you're not allowed to bring an animal into a polling place.
What if it's an emotional support animal? I mean, if
maybe, yeah.
I don't know.
I don't think you can have there's no such thing as an emotional support cat.
I think there is. I mean, they got real loosey goosey during COVID. There was emotional support emus, but I don't know. They pulled back drastically, even on airlines. Emotional support doesn't cut it anymore. It has to be full service.
I think that's because somebody tried to bring a peacock on a plane.
Yeah, of course, because everyone always has to push it too far.
Yeah.
That's why.
Because you think you can get away with it, and then and you think a peacock is a docile bird, but it shits everywhere.
You don't need a peacock on a plane.
No, you certainly.
I've never had anxiety and be like, you know what would cure this? A peacock.
A smelly bird.
So big too.
Yeah. You need a separate seat for the peacock. You can't store that below the seat.
Yeah, but I think that's fair.
I know you gotta start your show in a minute, but so where can people find out more about the campaign? And obviously go check out Without a Country and Guys We Fucked wherever you get your podcasts.
Yeah.
But where can people what is your campaign website?
So it's CorinneFisher.com, CorinneFisher. You can donate. You can learn more about my platforms. There's a huge page where all my policies are written out more in depth, and then. I'm at Corinne Fisher for Mayor on Instagram, where I've been updating people on the court case and everything else that's going on, doing policy hit videos and, just trying to reach out to people. I really want this to be a campaign for the people. And I really, if you take anything away from this, and I truly mean this, even if you don't vote for me, first of all, please show up and vote. Please rank all 5 people and don't rank Andrew Cuomo in that top 5. And then just pay attention to what's going on, because we do have power, but when we stop paying attention is when things get really out of hand. And I just think it's time that the people represent themselves, and that's really what my campaign is all about.
And I think it's great. And I think by you have a national platform, you're exposing corruption in New York City, but it's going to make people think about the places around them, which maybe are not quite as bad as here.
Yes.
So they can probably, the idea is, to be clear, this is the hardest place to do this. So where you are, you might actually be able to make a difference, but understand that this is how fucked it probably is. It's somewhere on this level. There's some level of fuckery somewhere.
Yeah, and this is, exactly. This is the most extreme, and it just happens that this is where I live, so this is where I have to run. But yeah, just show up, truly voting, especially in a municipal election. There's not even going to be a line.
Look at Letitia James.
What?
She can live wherever she wants and runs wherever she wants.
Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah.
Is that true?
Well, I mean, you didn't read all the controversy about Tish James last week.
No, where does she live?
So, I mean, basically, a lot. She was claiming primary residency. What was it, Virginia? She bought a house where she claimed that her dad was her husband. It's gotten very messy.
Whoa.
It's gotten very, very messy.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, that's what happens when you when you come after who is now the sitting president.
Well, the thing was, when I started the article, I was like, "Oh, this is some kind of an attack piece on Tish James," because I've seen her speak at caucuses. I really liked her. I thought she was like one person who kind of had her shit together. And then you read the article, and you're like, I mean, I'll sit and fact check all of this, but the New York Post can't be reporting all of this incorrectly. This is a long list of bad things.
It's the New York Post, but. I think they're under some scrutiny now as well. You know what I mean? They've gotten got. But all right, thanks for doing this. I know you got to do your shit.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Corinne.
Bye.
Peace.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? It's Mike Harrington here for the Armored League. We are previewing this incredible event we have coming up May 23rd at the American Dream Mall in East Rutherford, New Jersey. I am joined by my partner on commentary, my partner from Notes of a Goon, Chris Vega. And Chris, we have an incredible guest, Spencer Waddell. Spencer, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing great, guys. Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate you guys.
Dude, I appreciate you too. This is awkward because you've been doing a ton of these. So it's like, what is anyone, like I got sent like a list of questions I have to ask people. So are people like just turning your interviews into promos?
I mean, they're just doing whatever they want with it, but there's been a lot of promo things talking about people like, what have you done about this? How have you gotten into this? Are you excited about the fight coming up? You name it. So no holds barred.
I have a question because it's just on the minds of everybody.
How
many could 1,000 dudes in regular dudes with no training in armor beat a gorilla?
1,000 dudes in armor?
No, we'll do 100. We'll do 100.
We'll do 100 dudes in armor? Yes.
Dudes who have never been in armor.
They have never been in armor? So that's one thing where people see something and you make an example of the first person, they're going to be like, nope. But if they had a little bit of training, they should actually be able to, even though that gorilla is going to mess up a lot of people. But if you have gauntlets now and you're punching, doing stuff like the armor, that gorilla is going down. But the people have to commit.
I think the sound would freak out the gorilla of the armor. I think just the movement would freak out a gorilla.
I think he's pretty scared, but once you corner that gorilla.
I've got my disabled brother in my house, and the way he lurches is freaking my cat out. I'll tell you that right now.
The cat's like, whoa, what's going on?
She's like, I've never seen somebody walk like that.
I mean, that's a good point.
Yeah. So, all right. A caveat. How many armored combatants would it take to beat a gorilla? Like, what is the minimum number? Like, could the 8 guys in this tournament take a gorilla with their skills, with sharpened blades and everything?
Oh, yeah. If you give us weapons and armor, I think, honestly, maybe 5 of us could.
So, all right.
The plan is...
Right. Let's go.
Oh, go ahead.
No. I was gonna say, like, what's the play? You got 5 guys. You're surrounding this gorilla. You got the guys that you train with, so you have a good rapport with them.
Better idea. Not the guys you train with. Of the guys in this tournament, who are the 4 that you're taking to fight a gorilla?
Let's go.
Oh, okay, let's go. Okay, so I mean, Nick Dahl's like almost as big as a gorilla. You're gonna see him. He's just a monster. So I'm like, Nick, you're just got to be the tank. Then I'm gonna get Pete Mo. Me and Pete Mo go back. I'm like, I know what you can do. And Bo Hamil, even though I've never fought with him, and he's the freaking GOAT. So I think us 4 can easily get it done. But then you talk about all 8. Oh my gosh. BJ, Eric, Duncan. I'm probably going to be the guy. I'm like, I'll get his attention, but you guys better be freaking killing it while this happens. Because once it grabs him, I'll be like, help me. But someone's got to be the bait. Someone's got to be the bait. I'd be the bait. Because either it's going to happen, it's just going to turn around and be done. So I know enough to where I'm like, I'm going to stick with it. And if I die, they better make a giant statue of me. They better be singing songs, like the whole shebang. But someone's got to commit, and it's got to be teamwork. Because as soon as somebody doesn't commit, then it's just crazy, and the gorilla's just going off one by one. All
right, so here's the thing. So maybe you are the guy that's ready to be the bait. Mike was telling me you're probably the lightest guy in this Titan tournament, which it's the kind of thing where in like a traditional combat sport that might be a disadvantage, but in this, because the cardio game is so different than other sports, I think maybe smaller frame might give you more gas in the tank.
It definitely can, though. It just depends. Like if they actually catch me, if I mess up and they get me with a good hit because they have that much power behind them. Normally I fight around 265, but for this Titan weight one, I'm up to 285. So I bumped up an extra 20 pounds on that. But still, Pete Mo and I went at it in the MMA ring, and he's 320, and I was at 265. And I had to dance around because there's one point where I was like, got him. I was like, I'm going to try to do a throw. And I immediately got into his, like, with his range. And I was like, this is a mistake. Talk about a gorilla. I mean, Pete Mo reached me and I was like, oh, screw this. I got out. I was like, no. So there's that whole.
Dude, Peebo was telling me about that. I interviewed him a couple days ago, and he was saying, like, this fighting Spencer was the most frustrating thing I've ever done in my career, right? Like, I just, I know that if I can bull rush people, I can put a couple hits on them, I can get in and take most guys down. With Spencer, never had that opportunity, but he did tell me that you had related that same story to him, and like he said it with like a bit of pride. Like, I got my hands on Spencer for a second, and it freaked him out. Like, he wanted absolutely no part of it.
I hated it. He was tired. Like, I wish I had the courage in the third round after I gassed him out to have tried again. Once again, he's just so dangerous to where if I don't do my throws, and my judo game is probably my weakest part of my game too. So I'm good, but I'm like out of the 10, I'm like a 6 out of 10. But my sword fighting is like 9 or 10. So at that point, it's not the time to experiment at the end because you want to walk out with the W because history remembers the winners. Even though sometimes you lose in a good way, it happens. You can keep on growing from, but that's the hardest thing about our sport. You want that win. You want that win, especially going to this tournament.
Fair. Yeah, so let me ask you something about the sword fight game. Where does that? Sure. All right. Where does that come into an advantage if you're a smaller guy? Is it creating distance so these guys can't bull rush you, like Mike was saying? You're just kind of like holding them off. Because I've talked to people, use a smaller one. Do you use? We were talking to Abid last week. He said he likes a smaller weapon. Do you like a long one?
I like a medium size because like it's eventually going to come into, as I have a weapon here, it's eventually going to come into that close game. If it's so long to where if you get close and I can't even show around and like get a chop on you, then I'm at a disadvantage. So it's that I don't want like a gladius, something short like you think about Roman stuff. Sure. So you don't want that part. So I like kind of on this size. It's a little bit thicker. So it's kind of heavier, but I want to be able to get out, get some shots, dance around you, and turn into a boxing game with a sword. That's my goal.
So that leads me into the first question I have on my sheet here. What martial art would you say most influences your fighting style? And what martial art do you like watching the most?
Oh, okay. So after you learn the basics of sword fighting, so I'm one of those historical people where I like to get into the deep dive of Italian swordplay. There's a guy named Fiore who talked about all these different things. There's different movements, different animals that represented things. After you learn that, our most modern sport is boxing to me. I love boxing. I love seeing it. Obviously, MMA is a little bit more of what we do because we actually have the strikes, the takedowns to look at. But there's just something about the boxing and moving, the techniques. There's no kicks. So you're not having to worry about that. So when you go and put your head down, you have to worry about getting a knee to the face. So it's different. But that footwork, that power generation, you think about all the greats we have from Jack Dempsey to Muhammad Ali to Mike Tyson, George Foreman. You can transfer that over to our sword fighting, especially when you have that armor on, because you're not eating it to the face directly. But it still can hurt. Don't get me wrong. You can't just zombie walk into people because they'll clean your clock. But boxing.
Boxing. All right. So what? Yeah. What's the boxer that you're saying is going to influence you the most if boxing is your sport of choice to fight with?
It's kind of like oh yeah, sure. No, it's kind of more of a this imaginary amalgamation of all the greats put together. Is what helps to me. Because you still want that power generation from George Foreman, who just hit people and didn't necessarily like look like he put back, but every hit he did, the person's like, I don't want any more of that. You have Floyd Mayweather who would dance around and not let you catch him and still hit you over and over again. And then, of course, you have the great Muhammad Ali trying to stick in and moving. I have not reached that level of fitness, and I want to, even with the armor, because granted, we're wearing 60 to 80 pounds of armor, but I'm pretty light on my feet still. But that's the drive. That's the goal, to sit there, keep on moving. And then when they think they got you, be able to get them out to where they don't want it some more, and then dance around and get some more hits in, yet still make a show of it. Because we're here for a sport. We're here for a spectacle. You don't want me running away all the time, but sometimes you also got to play your strengths. Now, I'm still going to kick you and do it deep to get some elbows in those knees, because Muay Thai and MMA would be my close second. but boxing to me is what can win you the sport with my style of play.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we saw that a lot in the Johnny Porter versus Emil Goose fight when the two of us were on commentary. It was like at a certain point, if you're hitting these, nice, clean, flowing combination strikes, doesn't matter how hard the other guy's hitting you. This is point fighting, so the combinations just rack up points on top of points.
Which is very true. Now, a caveat, and I have to look through the rules again. We are allowed to switch weapons, and not in the middle of the fight, but depends. I'm thinking about doing, and I don't know if people are going to watch this beforehand, maybe some two-handed axe on the big Jotun himself, Nick Dahl, because at that point, I might want to hit you enough to where you don't like it, and then stay away. I'm not going to bring a long axe. I'm going to bring a medium axe, which I don't think I have any around here. But like this one's a halberd style, so where this is only about this long, but if I hit you with one of these, you're going to be like, oh, crap, I didn't like that. Then you're going to rush in more, but I'm going to dance even more. I can choke up, get some punches. So it might come out.
If you slide that down and punch somebody in the face a bunch of times, and I want to point this out about the boxing aspect of this sport, like YouTube does not do it justice. Like when you are at one of these events, like the event we were all at in Manhattan, Ideal Glass Studio, when guys are getting close and punching a guy with a shield and the noise it's making, you can't help but get like incredibly excited for what's going on in front of you. Like for anybody that's listening to this or watching this, if you haven't been to one of these events live, just find one near you, go to it. It will it will enhance your appreciation for everything happening.
Heck, I'd say if you're within a 5-hour drive, come on down May 23rd to American Dream Mall in East Rutherford, New Jersey. You do not want to miss Gladiators E3.
It's a good segue, and if those like in the local groups especially come down, don't miss this. If you're 5 hours away, come. It'll be worth your time to once again see literally a legend. We're talking about Bohemil, who I don't think he's lost a fight in the last 2 years from the European nations. It's just absolutely amazing to see him fight, to see me fight, to see Nick Dahl, who's like 6 foot. Actually, I think he's 7 something. He's like probably 7'2", around. Yeah,
in armor.
Yeah, and ginormous. And we had a chance to like actually spend time in an airport over in Spain when we were doing the Battle of the Nation, not Battle of the Nation, sorry, for the American Medieval Combat Federation, but also the IMCF, the International World Championships. And the dude, I'm a big dude. I'm just sitting next to him, like, this is ridiculous. I was glad he's on our side, but this is way worth the chance. And two, if not anything, politely ask at some time if we're not super busy, like, hey, can I hold one of these weapons and actually see them in your hands? Like, this is real metal. It's not sharp, but you still hitting people with this full force. There's no script. There's no choreography.
So I was going to say, like, pertaining to Nick Dahl and the weapons, his most viral clip, you might have seen it. I think it was like, I think it was down Nashville way or something, but it was a one-on-one fight. And he had an axe, right? Like does the clean cut across. I think he landed 2, but on the second blow, like it went through the dude's whole helm. Like it busted through, and I'm sure that axe must have been this close to the guy's eye. Like, is that a concern for you going into a fight against somebody like Nick Dahl, where it's like, hey man, even if I'm doing everything right, my armor can betray me when guys are that big?
It can, but it's one of those things you just prepare it your best you can. You get your stuff together, you get your new straps, you make sure to oil it down, you have it ready, and you fight. And when it happens, and hopefully you have enough time to do a repair, quick it, and it doesn't TKO you. But that's something else in the sport. It's a great question where we don't have a lot of funds to bring another secondary helmet either at the moment. Some people do, don't get me wrong, but I think it's few and far between. Because my helmet's like 15 something pounds. It's like one of those melee style ones, so it's heavy, but that's why I work on those straps so you can actually carry it around. But that's what protects you. That's that mass that protects you. Now we have dueling helmets that are a little bit lighter. But you get an axe one to that swing, you are feeling it. It's ringing your bell. So if it happens, it happens. I can't worry about it. I got to fight my fight. And then when it happens, I'll be like, oh God, Mike, you're right. How'd you put this into the universe?
There's an axe hanging off my face.
Yeah.
Who would you say, Spencer, has influenced you the most in your armored combat journey?
In my armored combat journey, so individuals that fight, I have to say my mentor, Bo Ring, he's awesome. He's been around from the beginning, one of the original 29, fought overseas, his Battle of the Nations. He has just helped me, one, get to events that I couldn't do back in the day. He's helped mentor me, even though his style is differently completely. And he's just in fighting. I think he still does. He's dropped out from a pro league recently because he used to do a lot of buckler and competition. But he fought to like he was about easily mid-50s, and he would do well. And you do well. And now he comes also from the other sport called the SCA, so Society of Creative Anachronism. It's basically a historical art. It's all over the world. And people from that started doing Battle of the Nations back in 2012. And I've always been along them for the longest time. So I was just a poor college kid. So I got to train with them. Then I got to do my first steel fighting competition in 2014. I got to wear Brad Shivey's armor. It's like a $10,000 kit. And I was like, oh, this is awesome. I got trucked from behind. It was like, was it next Friday? You're like, welcome to the league. And I was just like, oh God, this is real. So he's thanks to Bo Ring, Brad Shivey, then just the community in general. And if we're looking at legends in general, Bruce Lee has been one of the biggest inspirations in my life for everything. When he had his terrific return after he got hurt, the doctor was like, you'll never walk again. He's like, all right, bet. There's a certain level of just pushing yourself to the best you can do. And I still can't believe that man died at 33 years of age and changed the world forever.
Right, like accomplished as much as he did in such a short time.
Yeah, I'm turning 39 this year, and I'm like, I'm a slacker. Now, granted, I'm doing things, making stuff, and we're making history, being a part of this. But I'm just like, oh, man, got work to do.
I remember when I realized I was listening to rappers that were incredibly rich, that were 5 years younger than me, and it just made me sad.
It's gross. You're just like, thanks, life. But I'm happy for all the experiences I've got, because who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe you wouldn't be happy. But yeah, so long story short, Bo Ring, Brad Shivey, Bruce Lee.
All right, looking forward to this tournament. Who do you think is going to be the most difficult opponent for you specifically?
Bo Hamil, easily. Like I said, he's a legend. He comes from a group called White Company, which is basically like the Euro team of all stars. They wear the white with like hash marks, kind of like how I have the black and the green and yellow. They have white and then black stripes. He's probably one of the best he is one of the best in the sport, one of the best in the best with power generation. Even though he's not a big guy, he's still really strong, really awesome. And he's probably gonna be my hardest fight one-on-one. And then of course Jimmy Shock's beat me before. But because Jimmy is coming, right? We have Jimmy wrong, please. Or maybe he's not.
I don't know.
Actually, he may not
I don't
be.
remember seeing that.
No, he's not on the lineup I have in front of me. Yeah.
Okay, so Jimmy, good. I don't have to worry about him this one. But nobody's a slouch. Oh, BJ Scarlett, Boa is there. He's a young buck. He's also part of the Knights of Wakanda. It was really cool to train him up and be a part of his training, but like only from afar. But he's trained with Dallas Warlords for the longest time, and he's fought Bo Hamil before. I think he got his butt whooped, but he did really well. And I fought BJ before, and he whooped my butt. He's like 24 years old, 25 years old. He's like football player big, and he's just finding his feet. He's one of those young bucks where I'm like, I can't wait to get my time done so I can be like, I don't want to fight you ever again. Cool. But if I could match up against him, I'm going to do my best. But he's going to be another hard fight.
He's like like the way that like Rampage and Rashad looked at John Jones, like, yes. Give it a couple of years, young buck. You're gonna have your
exactly run. You're gonna have your run. I want no part of it. No part of it. But at least I'll have to say I've fought him before. Yeah.
So I mean, no one has talked to me so far about Bo Hamil. You're the first one, because I think that people, as far like the Pete Moes and Nick Dahls of the world, like they might just not be familiar with what's going on the other side of the ocean. A lot of guys are worried about BJ. A lot of guys are worried about you, because of all you've done, all the accolades that you have in this sport. I mean, you have wins over, guys on this roster, in this tournament here. So, this is it's very interesting to hear that there's so much respect should be put on the Polish man's name.
Yeah, no, he's really, that's why the whole thing, being a board member of the American Medieval Combat Federation, I've worked on the world stuff, been a part of the sport since around 2014, 2012 in the shadows, and just kind of always lurking and learning. And that's why around 2019, when I started to play more, I'm like, I want to be a part of this legend. I want to be a part of this lore. And then really diving in after COVID. But a lot of people just don't know about him, which is going to be awesome because I can't wait to see how it goes, no matter what. That's why we said show up. Even if you're 5 hours away, hell, if you can make it, you can fly from anywhere. It's going to be one of the record books. Yeah, exactly. It's a great hub. Come on from LaGuardia, come to JFK. Just show up. Like, this is going to be history because the Armor League is doing things differently. and a lot of the leagues are. Like we have full tournaments in the Olympic setting sometimes where we'll have like 10 people come, like with longsword. You might fight 15 people in one day, going through the brackets. And that's how I won my first championship. That was like in California. That was a day. That was like from 10 a.m. all the way to like 3 p.m. And you're just duking it out. So this is different on that level.
Those are typically open sign up, right? Like you don't need to be like registered ahead of time. You just show up, say, I got my gear, I want to fight. Let's go.
Those you still register for on those ones. It depends on the level. Like there are tournaments all over, or sometimes it is just open on sign up. But when you're going for like the title or the belt to represent the United States, you have to sign up. And sometimes you have to be qualified and have fought throughout the year because they don't want somebody that's just going to win and then not show up and go to the other things and have to give it to the second place person. So it just depends. But more to the point for the Armored League, they're doing an invitation only. This is a certain weight class. They have different rule sets. It's a cool, I mean, it's the most gladiator thing I can really think about it, which is pretty darn cool. Pretty darn cool.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. I love what AMMA is doing. I've watched a bunch of your fights there. I like the idea of like turning it into the UFC, but the idea of doing it like one night Grand Prix, that feels like cool. Pride. You know what I mean? Pride never died.
Oh, there's definitely. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say, knowing that in the first round you could be facing a dude who's 500 pounds and 7 feet tall, knowing that in the second round you could be facing a legend of the sport, somebody in Bohemil who's like, this is the retirement tour, this is the big one, and you're still not through to the finals where you could be facing a 24-year-old wonderkin with a motor that doesn't stop.
Exactly. Every single fight that you have is a potential championship level fight, and that's insane.
We had Johnny Porter versus Emil Guz in the second round last time. Like,
I know.
If you don't know this sport, that's two absolute titans meeting up in the semifinals.
Completely. And they could have met in the first round. They could have met in the first round if the straws went right. So you just don't know. And I think as a competitor, you have your plan. You can watch people's tapes and do, because like people ought to train a lot. But to me, I've been fighting like for 20 years or so. It's that point, like, I don't care who you put in front of me. I'm going to adapt on the fly. But not everybody can do that. And I might do it poorly, but that's still my plan, because you can't be like, oh, what if this happens? Or if this one, you're just like, cool, I'm here. I put in my train, I put in my work, my armor's on, it fits. Let's go.
All right, let's see here. Who do you think is going to be across the board from you in the finals? Like I said, that scenario, you win the first two. Who do you think stand in there?
I think it's either going to be Bohemil, BJ. I don't think it'll be, not throwing shade at anybody else. I just think one of them is going to go across them and look at that. I think those are the two that are probably going to be at the finals for me.
Interesting. I thought for sure P-Mo was going to get more love. I thought Nick might get more love. I know you don't want to.
I love him.
I know you don't want to talk.
Don't get me wrong. I don't. No. So Nick, he's definitely like that's one going to be interesting. Whoever picks him the first round, he's going to has a gas tank. It's going to be his first fight. People are going to be nervous. They're going to see how it is, and it's going to be a slog. And if he catches you, you're in trouble. So that no matter what, like part of me being an idiot, I'm like, I hope I pull him first, because that would be just fun. And either way, I'll be on the highlight tapes one way or another, just looking at him and be like, oh wow. But that being said, I think Bohemil can dispatch him. If I fight him, I'm hoping to dispatch him. I think BJ can beat him too. So those ones I think could take him out. I think Pete-Mo can take him. So it depends on, but anything can happen, right? Each fight is still a championship level fight. I know I beat Pete recently, so that actually makes him probably more dangerous. So I still respect him. But at that point, like you said, like people are worried about you. There's this level of fighting where if you have a aura about you, or you have this renown, you can use that to your benefit sometimes. And me, you know me, I'm a friendly guy, but yet when it's time to clash and bash, I'm ready to go. And sometimes you come out there, you're like, hey man, it's gonna be a good fight, so you can kind of disarm him. And then after that, you're just like ready to go. So there's all these other things where I'm like, I hope to use that against the other ones. I'll hopefully be able to. And Eric Duncan's still no slouch. We got Jed. Jed's a power hitter, but we've got some legends and some hungry champions. And also with BJ, he is the prior world champion, IMCF super heavyweight champion. I think he was. Now, granted, Bohemil wasn't there and some other people, but that point, it doesn't care who wasn't there; it's who showed up, and he showed up, and he won it all. So
wait, whoa, you're not talking America. You're talking he went overseas and won the title?
it was the one for Mexico. So this is one. So there's big two leagues. So we have Boohurt International, which is they're actually having their world championship in Hungary this year. I'm not attending because like just when you're doing the world championship stuff, and plus with tagging on to AMA, tagging on this one, you got to focus sometimes. And if you have the money to do them all, that's great. But I think it makes it really hard. And then we have the other organization that I'm actually a board member of for American Medieval Combat Federation, and we fall under the International Medieval Combat Federation. They had their world championship in Mexico last year, which I didn't go to because it's just life and money. But this year it's actually in Houston, Texas. So yes, BJ won the world champion. Yeah, it is. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. Houston, Texas, August 6th through 10th. Get your tickets for that after coming to New Jersey and seeing this. But no, BJ won that. So he showed out, and won his weight class for world championship. So yeah, he's a champ. So proud of him.
Okay, yes, that makes sense why those would be the two most likely guys to see each other in the finals.
Yeah, exactly. I just hope to get there. But
what are your career goals in this sport? What are you hoping to accomplish?
Oh, I mean, this one I'd love to walk away with the crown, or at least have fought no matter what. So walking in and fighting is number one. So we're going to accomplish that. Hopefully everything goes well. Then knock on wood. I would love to either get to the finals or win one. Because I know we're doing this one, and I think we're going to do a bigger one next year. So I'm still going to be a part of that. Boyos, I'm turning 39 this year. I'm not ready to retire yet, but I want to make my name for myself, and that's why I started doing more of the commentary. Because when we talk about history, remembers the winners. However, history do remember those who participate and live to tell the tale. And that sounds so edgy, live to tell the tale. But stuff can happen. It's people, I think there's only been like maybe one recorded death. I'm not sure. And like all years of sports, but I don't know exactly. But to have done this and then have an understanding. So then when we're doing color commentary together, you can be like, Spencer, what do you think about this one? I'm like, yeah. Or I never fought this guy, but he was trained through this. It's that lore keeper. So I want to be there to tell the tale and do the best I can. It sounds so.
Well, it's also commentating is a thing where it's like you remember the calls of like big things. Like there's a meme of like Rogan and Daniel Cormier, like whoa, because fucking crazy, and people remember that aspect of any major highlight. I mean, like whatever. It's not obviously it's not a sport, but Jim Ross calling Mick Foley getting thrown off the Hell in the Cell just rings in my head every time I see somebody fall down something.
Yeah.
I just immediately go, by God, he's got a family. Every time I see somebody get hurt in my brain, it just rings out.
It's true. It's really true. And that's the part of culture that I think we're literally making history gens. So no matter what happens at the end of this, we pray that it's not just a drop in the bucket. This is pretty cool. People, especially for New York, no matter what. This may be people's first acceptance to the sport in New York or period. And doing a service.
I think it's a thing where it's like, you guys were talking about it earlier. I think anyone who I've spoken to, you come and see it live once, you're hooked. You know what I mean? Like this is it. This takes precedence over boxing's coming to town, wrestling's coming to town, MMA's coming to town. Like you can miss all those. If you can only get a babysitter for one a month, come out to Armored Combat, because that, like, once you attend it once live, you will be hooked. And I think a lot of new eyes are going to be on the sport on May 23rd.
Absolutely. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Like I said, when you're out there, politely ask to see if you can hold a weapon, because then you actually understand. And that's going to be the next renaissance level of the sport, is people actually coming to the local gyms, training, putting armor on, just swinging at a tire belt, so they actually understand. Because a lot of people look at this like, why are they moving so slow? Why? Like, oh, that didn't look like that big a hit. And you're like, bro, like, and I need to do more videos. Like if you look Sam Ride, he has like a ballistics gel dummy where he just takes an axe to it and it's red. And like some people are like, I can't watch it because it's so visceral. But that's what these weapons can do to you if you're not wearing armor. Like, it's legit. It's absolutely legit.
Okay, so let me ask you a question about. Hold on, let me ask a question about conditioning. Me and Mike put on armor. Now I'm taller than Mike. He's very fat. Mike is very fat.
I'm pretty
He's
fat.
sturdy. He's sturdy. He's thick. He's thick.
Okay. So Mike has significantly more combat training than me. However, my cardio and conditioning is far superior, and neither of us have ever put on a suit of armor. But he's got a lot more combat training than me. I haven't trained at all in 10 years.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Who wins this?
Now, what was the rule sets? Are we doing 2-handed axes? Are we going a minute? Are we going 2 minutes?
So 3 minutes.
We're gonna do
with a
this not
shield
once, but
and
twice.
Wait, Mike said something different. What did Mike say? What?
I said we're gonna do this twice. We're doing it at the Gladiator Show in Central Park, and we're doing it at the IMCF qualifier in Perryville.
Unless we're
good.
Then we have to have a rubber match.
Then you do have to.
So if you know a local group in New Orleans, me and Mike will get into a ring at Skankfest in armor if we're 1-1 in November.
We're gonna have to do that, and then even if not, like you guys got maybe a big time to come to the World Championship in Conroe, Texas / Houston for the World Championship. That would be freaking sweet. That'd be absolutely great.
Texas, man.
Yeah,
you do love Texas, and it stands for barbecue, and we're also doing 150 in one list, so it'll be 300 people in one list fighting. So even just to cover that, not saying you have to get in that fight, but you guys need to be there for that. So I know that's a shameless plug for,
I'm not getting involved.
But also.
We'll throw
no. But you watch it.
Go to the zoo and steal a gorilla. We'll throw him in the middle.
Exactly. It'll be perfect. We'll put the gorilla in armor. And it'll be fine. So back to the point, though. I think if Mike catches you and gets to do like the nice little just cross and jab or anything as it comes up as using a 2-handed weapon, you're going to be stunned and it's going to be hard. But if you can dance like how I kind of did to pay Pete Mo and kept on going and just 2 points and do out the time, like if you're not in a cage, you'll be fine. Mm-hmm. So I can't wait to sell tickets and just be Don King and be like, let's see them fight. Let's see them get in there, throw it in, get the tickets, get the money.
Speaking of the money, what are you gonna do with the prize money if you win it?
Probably invest in some more business ventures that I've been working on, low key. I've been trying to work on finishing a website that's gonna help unite all the stuff we're working on. Getting more resources out there, starting to have more of a unified news outlet, and get some people on like yourself, you guys, and actually doing like little podcasts, little stuff. Getting you paid, work on that, but we got to have more that tells the world what we're doing, and maybe a little bit of buying a little bit of armor, maybe. But the main part, I think, is investments, because I also, with my sponsors and stuff I'm working, I want to make like a talent agency for fighters, and not to make money off the fighters, to help the fighters make money, and then take a little cut because it's time and money. But for the most part, I'm not trying to get fighters so I get rich off of them, and that's been a shift. Recently, within the last couple of years, where people used to look at the fighters, they're like, "Oh, here's armor. I sell you armor." They jack up the prices, or "Hey, here's this stuff." Or they would just look at it as a hobby, opposed to using it as like an MMA gym. Not everyone's going to be fighting in UFC, but you're going to have some dogs that are just like, "I want a piece of this. I can get this," and I think that's starting to happen more and more, because that's what we need. That's what we need from the sport. Like I said, we need the BJs. We need the other ones where they're here.
I was going to say, if you're going to turn around and invest it into the sport, like I've seen you do, you show up to Gladiators 2 with like 7 swords to give out to guys, just, as like promoting goodwill. Thank you for showing up, accepting the invitation to come out here and fight these guys. It's like, talk about growing the game, like that's kind of sportsmanship, and that certainly does stick in these fighters' heads and in the fans' minds.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And that's what it's for, because you got to give back. It can't be all you. Even if you do have the accolades and stuff, you got to lift people up. And that whole rising tides raise all ships. It's really the truth. And there's more enough pie for everybody.
Speaking of lifting people up, the last question I have on my sheet here: who has been your biggest supporter throughout your armor career? Man.
Honestly, just the community in general. Everyone's been really, really cool. Yourself included. Other stuff, reaching out, wanting to learn more about the sport, asking genuine questions. Cheering for you when you're down, cheering for you when you're up, or also just letting you know when you're like, man, what was that fight? Just the community as a whole is just so genuine, and you get to inspire people, but not for the sake of the self-aggrandizement of yourself to be like, oh, I am the champion. There's some parts where you do have some showmanship, right? But at that point, if you don't know who I know some people get mad. They're like, you don't know who I am. Stuff like, if you don't know who I am not doing my justice, or I need to start getting out more, reach more people. And also, there's just a lot of stuff going on. So don't take it personally, but be an ambassador at all times. So community is what keeps on pushing me. There's not just one person for me. It's been really big. Although my manager, Naya, has been really helpful keeping things straight, because you get to a certain point in this where you're just doing so many things. And I'm sure your guys' calendars look busy, but my Google Calendar has all these different colors. It looks like I just threw a bunch of Skittles into like a jar. It's hard to keep everything straight.
Okay.
So definitely, yeah, thanks to Naya and thanks to MMA also for hiring me as one of the trainers here, and also being understanding that I'm still, even though I'm a head trainer here at MMA and National Armor Combat, they still let me go out and go on. I don't want to say crusade, but go on campaign, go and bring things out, spread to the word. That's really cool.
Well, you're a hell of an ambassador for this sport. What were you going to say?
Hold on, I have two quick questions. One, same five guys from the first question. How many Brock Lesnar's, peak Brock Lesnar's on Juice could the same five guys beat? Like how many?
Unarmed Brock Lesnar's?
Unarmed Brock Lesnar, peak Brock Lesnar's, roids, put it to the gills, no weight cut.
No weight cut. Does he get a weapon? Or is he just punching us?
Just Brock Lesnar, peak form, but how many of those can the five armored guys beat before they get exhausted?
Get destroyed.
Keep in mind, NCAA heavyweight wrestling champion.
Champion. Use the GOAT.
He can't punch, but he can move and he can take you down.
Yeah.
He might be.
And he can still punch our body.
He can pick up. Yeah. And he can pick up a weapon you guys drop.
So now that's dangerous. That's the question right there. And also I want to say the Armored League has also been really supportive of my growth too. So Anthony and Damian has been really, really helpful. So that's another shout out to you guys. Not just saying it. I look at a card, they're like, what the? No, this is honestly the truth. There's so many people to thank. But also back to the Brock Lesnar thing. If he can pick up our own weapons, we're in trouble because I don't want him to have this. And at that point, I'm just like, hey guys, put the weapons down. We're just going in with gauntlets and just doing it. Unless you have a few chosen few that's just in the back, or someone holds them and you're just like, wham! Because when it comes down to it, if you're unarmored and you get hit by one of these bad boys, you're toast. There's no amount of Superman, anything you can do.
You're saying probably 10 to 15 Brock Lesnar's.
Yeah, until you get tired, then he catches you. Because still, if it's a punch to the body, a throwdown, stuff, and that's going to be bad. And then once the Brock Lesnar bodies start piling up, they're going to use the other Brock Lesnar's, and they're just going to hit you with another Brock Lesnar, and it's going to just be crazy. And I'm just going to be like, what's going on?
Could you imagine Brock Lesnar F5ing a Brock Lesnar into you?
Oh, that would be.
I would be so. You just see it happen. You're just like, no.
Okay, now they're coming down the old boy style hallway.
Oh, dude.
There's a callback.
Yeah, that was definitely a callback. And also, dude.
All right. Last question, and we'll get out of your time. You guys don't have championship. You guys don't have championship belts right now. But if you guys start having championship belts, should they have magnets in them so that you could have them for press without them, but then you could also wear them to the ring over the armor?
So the one cool thing, and we do have.
Just throwing that out there earlier.
No, you're right. And actually, I gotta walk around real quick. One of my coolest claims to fame that I had was when I first started. After I won my championship, I made sure to make one. So I was like, I've got to make this belt because I won the title, I did it, and I need to have one. So it just translates well, right? Sure. But that being said, if we had one, the magnet would be cool, but it's gonna get destroyed. And you need to do. You're fine, baby. You need to have two belts. You have one that you can have that can get battle damage, and you have one that you walk around for press. But I mean, at that point, sometimes the battle damage would look pretty cool too. They'd be like, "Well, you're not taking care of your belt. It's not taking care of your belt." And you're like, "This was actually an axe strike."
I don't think you would fight with it on, but just to be able to walk to the list with it on your armor and then take it off like a normal championship belt.
Yeah,
it's really tough to be champion and not be able to have a belt around, a metal armor piece.
Yeah, it even has to be that much bigger because there's something called like placard belts where they're nice like brass belts that you put on. I had one of those that I wear like in like soft kit, and then the one that I had for like metal, it has to be that much bigger because you have this much metal and this much armor around you. So I ended up chopping up that one so I could just wear it out of kit because I also didn't want it to get hit because it was pretty and expensive. So, yeah, I mean either one is cool, but I think belts need to come back or make word. That's why like with mine, like, oh, you were given a belt. I'm like, well. I made sure to get one for myself, but I still earned the title. But it was one of the biggest things, especially when I first started coming to AMA beginning. I'd have someone walk in there, I'd have a ring girl walk in with it, I'd walk in with myself. Or as you saw in some of the interviews, I have it over my shoulder. It just translates. Freaking cool. You're the champ. Champs deserve belts.
And it's a champ. Even if you get some for yourself, it's a delineation. It's a souvenir of what you did and what you accomplished. Like you still did win that championship.
Yeah. Exactly. And that point, like I wish it was like I don't know why they don't.
Yeah, dude, belts need to make a comeback. I will get Anthony on it. Spencer, thank you so much for your time, dude. We are all super excited to watch you fight on the 23rd. Also super excited to get back on commentary whenever you don't happen to be fighting. So,
if you want to learn more about the sport, it's at @simply_samurai on Instagram. Spencer's always posting great videos. Just go check that stuff out.
Thank you, guys. I really appreciate it. And definitely it's going to be a good time. Afterwards, we're going to hang out and talk about who got laid out, what has a great time. And it's going to be amazing. So once again, for those of you 5 mile rate or 5 hour radius, or just you have time, buy a plane ticket and show up and show out. It's going to be a great time. Thank you, guys.
Good night, man.